follow this guy on Twitter at JJ Maples 55 underscore MST. I mean, this guy's a Twitter god, but man, your Lakers stuff is good, bro. You're always on top of the Lakers. So I have to ask you, like, your thoughts on how the Lakers season played out and how you see it kind of unfolding in the offseason.
Obviously disappointing whenever you have LeBron James on your team and you miss the playoffs. It's kind of absurd. He's had the weirdest Laker tenure. Two non-playoff seasons, a bubble championship, and then a first-round exit. It's like been super weird.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. But you're always disappointed when you don't make the playoffs. A team with the high hopes as the Lakers did. A lot of people were questioning the Russell Westbrook addition, and they were proven right ultimately over the course of the season. He just did not fit. And then there was just a lack of self-awareness when you listen to the presser and how he explained the season away. So that was disappointing. They just Vogel wasn't great, but you know how these things go. The first person to go is the cheapest cheapest employee, and
Yep.
that's the coach usually. So that's the first thing to get fixed.
Bro, I was so shocked that Rob Pelinka didn't get fired. Like, I thought for sure, because you're mentioning like the lack of self awareness, and I feel like the lack of self awareness really starts at ownership, because
Right. I mean,
they have all these, like, why does the Bus family bring all these people in, like Kurt Rambis, like, what is he there for? Like, why is there so many people giving opinions on roster decisions?
the Lakers are run. It's a big brand. But they're run like a mom and pop shop. Everything is in the family. Belinka's a member of the family, extended family. Through the Kobe connection. You know what I mean? So he's always going to have that love there. But the Lakers gotta start digging deep and get real basketball people around. Like, there's no way. Like, Kurt Rambis's post career basketball resume is just terrible. Everywhere he's gone, failures followed. Uh, but because Linda Rambis is one of Jeannie's best friends, he's always tapped in. And even Palinka for today said he's going to consult with Kurt and Jesse and Joey Buss or the next coach. I'm
Yep.
like, why the hell does Rambis have any say whatsoever in who the next coach is going to be? But it's just when you locked in at a time with Jeannie, you're going to be in the circle. That's just how the Lakers have always worked, and it is what it is. I mean, since Jerry West has left, it's just been a revolving door of inconsistency. Um, and I'm just disappointed, man. The first thing I got to do is find a good coach. I'm a big, Ham's. You're a Bucks fan. I really want them to try to go push hard for Darvin Ham. I'm hearing a lot of retreads like Mark Jackson and Gentry was tossed around there. They're talking about trying to poach Nurse. I mean, Nick Nurse is recreating the Spurs in Canada, becoming a god up there. I don't see him leaving for the stress of the Lakers job,
Right.
especially when you don't get to pick your own staff. Rambis wants to meddle. I just don't think I don't think any reputable coach with a lot of you know goodwill built up around the league is going to take that Laker job seriously. It's one of the worst jobs with when you consider the front office.
Yeah.
And when anything goes wrong, you're going to get the blame. So I think they
That's
got to
true.
take a coach who's it's going to be a retread who's looking for a way back in. Unfortunately, Mark Jackson fits that. Alvin Gentry fits that. Um, I'm sure they'll interview Tibbs if he's out in New York. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Just one of those type of guys. The Lakers never think out the box, so I'm not expecting one of these out of the box hires that we never heard before.
It's crazy because you mentioned like that it's run like a mom and pop shop, and I think the interesting thing is like that Winning Time series is on HBO right now, and it's like, you know, Jerry Buss, Dr. Buss really got out of the way of his people and kind of let them run the business, like the basketball, you know what I mean? I think that it's just crazy to me that the Buss family now doesn't look at back at that, and especially with it being played, and is like, okay, why don't we do that? Like, instead they just compound on what their issues are, and like, oh, we had too many voices last year, let's just throw more in this year, maybe that'll help.
Yeah, well, that worked because like the people doing it, like it was Jerry West just was a great executive, you
Right.
know, so he was already in as a Laker family, and then on top of that, you came into a great coach in Pat Riley. You know what I mean? So you kind of
Lucked your way in.
you didn't have a reason to get in the way. Those were two guys who are great at their jobs. But like I said, man, step one, They said they want to have a coach before the draft. That's within the next couple months. Next draft is mid-June or late June. So they want to have a coach before then. They got to find a coach first, and then they just got to get off Westbrook. You know what I mean? And the big decision, I understand both sides of it. Is if they're going to attach those picks in the late, 2020s to get off Westbrook. Those are going to be valuable because LeBron's going to be gone. You see how the Lakers are ran. It's very high probability those picks are going to be at least top 10.
Yeah.
The Lakers got to decide, are they going to come off those or, hold on to those? I think that'll ultimately be, the sticking point with everyone getting off Westbrook.
Do you think that like as far as a coach goes, because I think we're both on the same page that like a good coach, like Nick Nurse, I hear Nick Nurse's name getting tossed around. It's like, why would he leave his job for
Exactly.
that job?
Even Quinn Snyder, like he was turned off by how the Lakers handled the, you know what I mean? It's like,
The
it's just
firing.
weird, man. Like Vogel, for all his false people pointed out, he did win a championship there.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes after his last game, when he's talking about, how well his young players played the last game of the season, the guys who were caught up, it's on Twitter that he's been fired. It's just the Lakers is so unprofessional, with how they do things. Even
Yeah.
the Sacramento Kings waited a day before the Gentry news, got released. Just give the man some decency, man. He did, was a part of a championship team,
Yeah.
but the Lakers is just, I don't know what the angle is sometimes with the front office. It's very weird.
They don't get what's going on. So who do you think? Who's your? I mean, not who you want, because I think who you want is probably unrealistic. But who do you want? Who do you think the Lakers are gonna hire? What's your pick?
My pick again, Darvin Ham. That's my pick. But I just think it'll be, Mark Jackson, Alvin Gentry, Tom Thibodeau, like one of those retreads. Obviously, I know what the Lakers. They always like, you either got to be in with the family or they want somebody with experience. So you know what I mean. So it'll be somebody who falls under one of those two boxes. You know what I mean.
What do you think the realistic? Um, do you think it's realistic that Westbrook is traded? What's more? What's more? Or let me phrase it this way: what's more probable, Anthony Davis getting traded or Russell Westbrook getting traded?
Oh, Westbrook. Like I said, people just looking at the play, which is fine, which is not great, obviously. But I will say that a $47 million expiring contract does have some value in the NBA.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of contracts that extend beyond the shit you want to get rid of, Knicks, Hornets, Pacers, it's a quick way to get off that and clear your books if that's what you want to do. And you know, I know the next year is going to be a big tanking year because Victor's going to come out and he's supposed to be one of the most generational prospects, of the decade. So next year's going to be a big tanking year. So teams want to share contracts, and possibly John Wall, Russell Westbrook, just stay home, or we'll buy you out, and just kind of tank for Vic. I could definitely see it happening, but it's $47 million expiring contract has some value in the league where only maybe 10 teams are trying to win for real, and the other rest are just trying to save money.
I
So
feel like I feel like a lot of teams, we saw it kind of at the trade deadline where they got off a lot of contracts. I feel like
right,
teams see that you need to have cap flexibility now. Like you can't get locked into these contracts because if you, let's say you have an Anthony Davis, like top 10 talent when he's healthy, but when he's healthy is a big,
right,
asterisk, and you can't afford to not have that guy on the floor for 75% of the time, even more than that, like 80% you basically need him,